E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. Live streaming now to millions of devices around the world on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook live streaming. Our shows are available video on demand on these channels. And we broadcast daily, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on these channels. On Mondays, Expanding Your Business. Tuesdays, Natural Health and Wellness. On Wednesdays, we cover Mentoring Our Youth. And on Thursdays, our new show, Ideas Worth Knowing. And on Fridays, Women in Leadership. To be able to watch our television show on your favorite device, please go to e360tv.com and download the app for your favorite device. Brought to you by our producers and hosts, Jim Grant and Donna Guinois. Along with our hosts, Beata Severin Reed and Emerson Brantley. Supported by our admin team of Michaela Vidal and Gaia Guinois Balconi Leda. And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. And we're also honored to be the show that has Ideas Worth Knowing, our Thursday show that's spearheaded by our good friend and co-host, Mr. Emerson Brantley and Mike Lewis. And they have, Jeremy, they have a very unique thing that they are promoting on the show. Thursdays, of course, is Ideas Worth Knowing. You see it there in the marquee. And then, in addition to that, ladies and gentlemen, they're adding to this library, and you can go there to visit them at ideasworthknowing.com. They've had a couple of computer glitches, surprise on that when you're creating a new site and all. But the idea there is any person can go there and get a complimentary library card, and they can select 10 books of their choice. No strings attached. And if you go there and you're having a little trouble, getting a library card or whatever, just email Mike Lewis. This is his email address right here. Email Mike Lewis at mike@ideasworthknowing.com. Because this show, it fits right into what we're all about. And we're all about giving back and helping people. That's why people tune in. That's why our show continues to grow around the world. And a lot of it also has to do with Jeremy's good looks.
Yeah.
I just got to be honest about that.
I appreciate the honesty.
That shocked him so much. It shocked me so much when I said that. My earpiece fell out. My hearing aid. How about that? But Jeremy, today in this show here, we're going to be talking about health and wellness. And you picked a great topic. And ladies and gentlemen, the topic that he chose for today was natural remedies for common ailments. And Jeremy, if I may, I'd like to kick this off with one of the most common things that we do. I have done it, possibly you have too, and I very seldom get a headache, but when I do, I want it to go away. Yes. So I'll run and I'll get an ibuprofen or some Tylenol or something like that. And they talk about a natural solution, magnesium, and we'll get into that in a moment. But this is one thing I want to bring to your attention, ladies and gentlemen. Whenever you reach for the vitamin, as they call it, vitamin I, as an ibuprofen, aspirin, or some other type of product in that area, the first sign of tension in the head and neck, this gives you you realize you're having a headache, you got an ache or something, you reach for these here, but the potential side effects from these type of drugs includes intestinal distress, kidney damage, elevated liver enzymes, increased risk of heart attack and stroke, especially in people like me, those that suffer from hypertension, which I don't, but I do suffer from heart disease because I just completed my second heart anniversary from a widowmaker heart attack that required 4 bypasses, open heart surgery, quadruple bypasses. So that's a little bit about what, I wanted to kick off the show today and talk about, because we need to find a better way in dealing with headaches. And, Jeremy, one of the things, and I'm going to turn the mic over to you, but one of the things that I've heard a lot of people say is that you need to increase your water, your intake in water. And being low on water can, if your vehicle's low on water, it's going to run hot on you, And when it comes to, if you're talking, I know you're very well educated in this area in health and stuff, but when you're talking to someone about how to deal with a headache or what they could do, what are some of the things that you've picked up on or learned over the years? Would you share with us, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a great one to start off with. And before we kick off, let's just throw that disclaimer out there that we're not medical doctors. Nothing that we share here is to cure or to treat any disease or injury or anything like that. And you're always suggested that you consult with your medical professional. We're just simply here to educate and to provide support in your wellness journey. So now that that's kicked out.
And share information, because
that's right.
Everybody knows that I'm not an expert in anything except learning to turn on the microphone here and adjust the volume there. Is my volume okay now? Is it okay? Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Because obviously, especially when we're talking about headaches, there can be much more serious causes of headaches, right? When we're looking at the root cause. So, we just want to make sure that you understand that we're not providing any medical advice, but here's some natural things. Well, first of all, staying hydrated is super, super important. Make sure that we're drinking plenty of water, because what that does, it just helps to dilate the blood vessels out. Rather than them be constricted, it helps to improve cellular function, everything like that. So along with the water is good oxygen, making sure that we're breathing well. A lot of times if you feel a headache coming on, if you just learn to practice what we call box breathing, right? And that's where we breathe in for 4 seconds, we hold it for 4 seconds, we breathe out for 4 seconds, and we hold that for 4 seconds, right? So we just do that box breathing. And I bet you if everybody who watches it right now, even if you don't have a headache, if you just breathe in for 4 seconds, and you're simply breathing in for 4 seconds, hold that breath in for 4 seconds, release that breath for 4 seconds all the way out. You hold that before breathing again for 4 seconds. And you just do that a few times and you'll begin to feel your body reacting right away. You're getting that oxygen to those cells. And what you're doing is you're just calming your nervous system, right? Yeah. You're calming your nervous system. You're getting things in tune and in sync. And just by doing that, along with the hydration, doing things like that is super, super beneficial. Another thing that you could do that is a natural holistic remedy is golden seal. Golden seal is an herb that's found to be very, very complementary to the body. It's really, really good for headaches, for allergies, for colds, for flu. But just a golden seal tea, or you can even buy golden seal supplements. But getting golden seal in there, that's another natural way in there. And a lot of times, if you find that the breathing and the water, hydrating yourself, just get up and move a little bit, right? Get it, just, even if it's just get out of your, a lot of us are working from home now. So we don't get out and move as much as we used to, right? We're sitting behind our desk a lot. So just getting that blood flow going and releasing some of the tension that is stored up in our bodies, right? By releasing some of that, there's tension headaches, and tension headaches are called tension headaches for a reason, right? We tend to be tense. We tend to, so just getting a little bit, stretching a little bit, getting that water, getting that oxygen in. If you need to, go into like a herbal supplement like Golden Seal, doing something like that. Passion flower is very, very good. You make a passion flower tea, and that's very, very calming. It's almost kind of like a natural Valium, so it's very, very relaxing, and will help you to relax as well. But those are some common ways to deal with headaches.
Yeah, one of the things that I've been taught too, and been told, and it works, is that many times I do shallow breathing. And I was guilty of that when I was in the hospital, because they came in, this is after I had my heart attack, before I had my surgery, and they put the little, tubes in my nose around the ears and all that. So you're not getting enough oxygen. And I thought, well, I feel okay. But I'm shallow breathing because I'm just breathing in my lungs and chest. But, the belly, you really need to inflate that belly. You don't normally think about that, but that's important. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. And breath work, is really something that's really big now. When you're working with like a functional health practitioner coach, a lot of times we start with breath work. Is really just getting that breathing in, because it is so crucial. It does so much more than just add oxygen to the body. But what it helps us to do is help us to gain control of the vagal nerve, and the vagal nerve is the nerve that runs all the way from your brain all the way down out to your rectum. Right, it's the biggest nerve in the body, and off of that main vagal nerve comes off all these other nerves that go to different areas of your body, including your cranial nerves that go into your brain. Right, and in fact, you can actually stimulate your vagal nerve a couple of different ways, and one of the ways you can do it is through the ear, because it's the only nerve that actually brings out. It comes from this. It's a cranial nerve that comes all the way out into the ear here, and you can stimulate that what's called the tragus there, and you can help stimulate the vagal nerve there as well. But that's really important for us getting that parasympathetic nervous system under control.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question without getting too far off topic there. How would you stimulate that nerve through your ears? Do you have any recommendations there, or do they?
Well, the really easiest way is just to use your fingers and to massage it and to rub it, right? You can also get devices that you actually clip onto the tragus there that sends little electrical stimulation, kind of like a TENS unit, to that as well. And then a very common way to stimulate it as well is when you do. One of the very common things in natural health is to do what's called tongue scraping, right? And in Ayurveda, they recommend every day that you scrape your tongue. But one thing that you can do is you can stick your toothbrush back towards the back of your throat. Be careful, of course, but cause that gagging reflex. And that gagging reflex will actually stimulate that vagus nerve as well. It is also, a lot of people don't know this, but one of the things that I learned early on when I was a paramedic was that a lot of people, unfortunately, pass away from heart attacks while they're on the toilet. And the reason is that while they're having a bowel movement and they're straining, that vagal nerve, they actually put pressure on it and they're stimulating it. It causes, because it connects all the way through the body, right? So they already have a heart issue going on. Right. And they guess so, but you can actually, stimulate the heart, back as well. So, that was something that was really interesting when I was in school to learn, was that, a lot of times, people, while they're having a bowel movement, end up having a heart attack. It's because that straining stimulates that vagal nerve that goes all the way up through the heart, in the brain. So it's pretty important.
Yeah, in my journey, of course, with the heart attack and having, I didn't have any cholesterol levels that were elevated. I didn't have any high blood pressures or anything like that. I found that 75%, almost 75%, UCLA Medical Department released this information. Almost 75% of the people who wind up in an ER with a heart attack did not have any cholesterol levels that would indicate that they were at risk. That was printed January the 12th, 2009. You can Google 75% of the patients who wound up in the ER had no cholesterol issues, and it should pop up. And Jeremy, of course, he's had an experience of being able to reverse his diabetes naturally. He had type 2. He's no longer considered diabetic. He obviously could become one again, but he is managing that naturally. And also he had neuropathy, and that is no longer an issue because you were told that neuropathy was permanent. There was no cure for it. And this is the why we like to talk about natural things, because both of us have skin in the game. If you like information about, the heart and things like this, so you can contact us here at the studio, Inspiration E360 TV Live. Get my tongue going this morning. Need to go to speech school. And for Jeremy's email, we have it right here. You can contact Jeremy directly, jeremy@yourbizprofitscoach.com. And he'll be glad to share any information you have or concern about, questions you have about natural cures and all that. I really like the idea, what you said about the ear, stimulating the ear with the fingertips, because, hey, everybody can afford that one, right? Just a lot of little time. And, Jeremy, when it comes to finding solutions, when it comes to looking at things, another thing that people suffer from time to time and really don't know where it comes from is nausea. And that's the body's major defense against food poisoning. We normally think if we got nausea, we ate something, wrong. And that's usually, the case. And one of the great things that I have found across the board, one of the great herbs is ginger. I don't think we could say enough about ginger if we spoke about the rest of the show about ginger, because it is a wonderful common food spice. It has been used, ladies and gentlemen, for thousands of years to treat nausea and other symptoms too. It's good for the heart. And Jeremy, I know that you probably have it. Do you use ginger often or daily or?
I do. I actually use ginger every day. It is a core part of my natural routine. It is, as you mentioned, it has been used for thousands of years. And it has so many important qualities to them. It has antimicrobial qualities, it has anti-inflammatory, it has antioxidants. It stimulates your body system, your immune system, in order to help your body to treat yourself. And here's the thing, we've become so dependent in Western civilization on getting our health and our treatment from someone else when really we were created to heal ourselves. Our body is innately designed, right? To keep itself in homeostasis and to heal itself. And so, simply through good nutrition, through reducing toxins in our life, and we can alleviate a whole lot of these chronic illnesses, these common symptoms that we have. And then when our body is getting a toxin overload or some type of overload of a microbe or something like that, then instead of turning to, pharmaceuticals that could be more damaging, looking first to go to natural ways, right? I mean, I'm not saying that you won't necessarily get to a point where you have to take a pharmaceutical. I'm not bashing a pharmaceutical area like that, but you want to go to the point of least resistance, right? I mean, it's kind of like the whole concept. Both of us are veterans, right? The whole concept of chain of command, right? You go to the lowest level execution first, right? and then
Yeah.
and then you move up. And so if
Mhm.
if we can use natural remedies that are most of the time less expensive, so they're more affordable, but they're not going to have the side effects potentially
Yes.
that these
Yes.
chemical ones are, then we should try to do that. We should educate
Yeah.
ourselves in doing that.
You're exactly right, because that's the reason why I switched to natural, because after I came home from open heart surgery, the statins they had prescribed for me, the side effects from them, well, I woke up every hour and a half, over and over and over every night. I couldn't get proper rest. I didn't get that deep REM sleep. I didn't feel good during the day. And I did a lot of research online. I also, and we encourage you to do this, communicate with your doctor. In my case, I communicated with my cardiologist and told him the problems I'm having. And I said, I've studied other cardiologists and studies that's been done on the heart. And that's when I switched to dandelion tea and that heart health pack. And that has been a win-win situation for me. But one thing I want to talk about right now, you heard me say earlier that these things have been, like ginger's been around for thousands of years. Why? Okay. Remember now, down through the passage of history, people shared stories on everything with their children and with others. Because Gutenberg didn't invent the press till the 15th century, something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah. And so how did people learn? By being taught in parables and stories and all that. Now, when you see that something's been used for thousands of years, let me ask you a question. Why would people pass on remedies for thousands of years if they don't work?
Right.
That's a good question, because there are some people that are closed-minded about natural cures and remedies that's been used for thousands of years. But that's a legitimate question for you to ask yourself and consider the truth in that. Because, moms and dads would not pass on to their children and teach them the natural pathways if they didn't work.
Yeah.
Because naturally, parents want their kids to be healthy. That's why all these remedies have been passed down for thousands of years.
Yeah, I think, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I never really thought about that much until here recently, but go ahead, sir.
I was just going to say that I think that a good statistic to go right along with that is the fact that 80% of the world population participates in some type of holistic or natural health as their remedies. They don't even have access to conventional, what we call modern medicine. So, it's only 20% of the world that primarily gets their care through Western type medicine. The rest of the world has been using this for generations. You look at, TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, you look at Ayurveda, all of these things have been used for thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
Oh, yeah.
And been used effectively. So one of the common obstacles that I hear when talking about natural health remedies and natural medicine with people is that, well, there's no research, right? Well, let me ask you this. Why would there be no research into something that's been being used for 5,000 years?
Exactly.
Why?
Yeah.
Because guess what? We invest our research dollars in what's going to produce what?
Income, money.
Dollars, right? I mean, that's it. I mean, we're not investing to not get a return. Right. And so
exactly.
And so, that to me is just, yes, we want to look at things carefully. We want to evaluate stuff. We want to make sure that we're making the right decision for ourselves. Right.
Yeah.
But just because something doesn't have any research or a lot of research papers or anything like that doesn't mean that it's not effective. Right. It just means that there hasn't been any research done on it.
Yeah, because I remember I was shocked the first time that I saw commercials coming on from pharmaceutical companies, and they would talk about this, particular drug. I'm going to call it a drug. That's what it is, and Then they very hurriedly, speed up like you're an auctioneer talking about the side effects include, and then they turn around and say, ask your doctor if, Sala Hila Hola Pala is good for you,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going like, you got to be kidding me. Why would I go in who's never been to any type of medical school or pharmaceutical school and ask my doctor, hey, doc, would this be good for me? Because a friend of mine, he gave a real good TEDx talk, and I really enjoyed it. He talked about how pharmaceutical companies they got a new medication, and they create names for new illnesses that never existed before. Yeah. And I'm going like, what? Because he kind of had me there. And the way he explained it, and he's no longer with us. He was about 79 then, but I would love to have him on the show and have him. I've been searching for his TEDx talk and cannot find it. But he really just explained it in a grassroots level, way down to where a guy like me could understand it. I thought, wow. And he mentioned several of them. He says, why have you never heard of that before? And why don't you hear about these diseases anymore,
Yeah.
And one of the ones that I got a kick out of him was that he said, there for a while, he said, if you walked outside and a mosquito bit you, you'd smack it where a mosquito bit you, and immediately your mind would think, wow, I got West Nile virus. What happened to West Nile virus? Did it go away?
No.
That was the basis of what he was talking about, and I wish I could talk more intelligently about that to you folks out there in TV land, but that was the scope of what he was talking about. And like Jeremy said, you don't do research on something thousands of years it works. Mm-hmm. You just don't. And the research, like Jeremy says, is to see if it's safe enough to get approved, and then they can commercialize it, and then get doctors to promote it, and it's all about money.
Yeah, but as you said, safe enough still means it can kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, that's the warnings.
That's why they give the side effects and harmful side effects is heart attack, stroke, and they say it real quickly.
Yeah. They spend the first 25 seconds of the 30-second commercial showing you the beautiful active lifestyle and family and everything like that, and then 5 seconds to tell you what it could do to you that's bad, right? And that's true. But here's the thing: a lot of times these diseases and stuff that come out, all of a sudden we stop hearing so much about them. And why is that? Because our bodies learn how to deal with it, right? Yeah. That's the cool thing. And this is what I want people to get is that, your greatest pharmacy is inside here, right? Mm-hmm. That's the strongest pharmacy is right inside your head. It's this body is designed to create so many thousands of chemicals and pharmaceuticals to treat itself. Mm-hmm. Your body knows best what it needs. And if we will oftentimes just get the heck out of its way.
Oh yeah.
This is something that I shared with somebody last week, right? I mean, talking about giving their kids get a fever and they go give it Tylenol and ibuprofen. Well, why is the body generating a fever? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's not the actual microbe or virus or something that's causing the fever. Mm-hmm. The body's generating the fever to kill that microbe. Right? Yeah, because that's right. Microbes need to be in a state of homeostasis. They can only tolerate very, very specific temperatures. So body, when it's generating a fever, what it's doing is it's doing an old-fashioned cookout. It's cooking out the bugs, right? Yeah. But we jump right to trying to stop that fever from happening. And what happens? We stay sicker longer. We've eliminated the body's ability to cook that microbe, and then we turn to antibiotics instead, right? Mm-hmm. And antibiotics don't kill just that bug; they kill all the bugs.
Yeah, the good ones too. I got to share a quick story about that. Back in 2008, ladies and gentlemen, I had just turned 60 years of age. First time I'd ever had any real health issues. I had a peptic ulcer, and I did not know it. I did not suffer any type of pain or discomfort in my stomach or anything like that. And I won't get into all the details, but anyway, I went in and I took a total of 5 units of blood to get me back up. That's how much blood I had passed through my body. And they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, so they did the lower and upper GI thing on me, and they found I had a peptic ulcer. Well, when they discharged me, they gave me that blue pill. And I said, "What's this for?" And she said, she said, "That's for acid reflux." I said, "Ma'am, I don't have acid reflux." And she said, "Well, that's what we give all of our peptic ulcer patients." So I came home. My wife says, You're going to take that." Okay. But I couldn't take it because it did make my stomach nauseated, and it gave me a tremendous headache. I was like that about an hour and a half every morning after I took the pill. I had to lay down on a couch, and I thought, I got to find something that works on this. So I started researching peptic ulcers, and I found out the Australians were all over it. They found if you take cayenne pepper, either eat it, I got it in a little capsule because I can take stuff like that. I got basically a cast iron gut. And what the cayenne pepper does, this fits into what Jeremy's just talking about, the cayenne pepper attacks the cause of the peptic ulcer. It is brought on by a bacteria called H. pylori, capital H, Pylori, and it's a bacteria that you can get in the water. Anybody can get it over age 50. They say most people have it. And it's a spiral type of bacteria that worms its way through the lining of the stomach. And when the acids in the stomach get through the lining into the wall of the stomach, that creates a peptic ulcer. They found in research that by using the cayenne pepper, it created a hostile environment that the H. pylori bacteria could not survive, and it kills it. And that's along with that heat that Jeremy was talking about. And that just popped in my mind. I wanted to share that with the folks out there because cayenne pepper is really good for your heart, really good for your... and there's a lot of people, my wife cannot take hot stuff like that. But there's alternatives. So do your research. And apple cider vinegar is a good one too. Just some people say, "Well, I don't like the taste of it." Well, if it likes you, the nice thing to do is like it back,
That's
or
right.
or just take it in smaller quantities in a glass of water, but do it frequently.
Yeah.
And
I'm so glad that you brought that up about the ulcers because that is such a pet peeve of mine when I'm talking to folks, and so many people are on these antacids and these proton inhibitors. And again, you see the commercials all the time for the purple pill, right? I mean, and take all this, but here's the thing. If you are reducing your problem with an ulcer and heartburn is not that you have too much acid.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not. Yeah, there's another issue, a root cause that's causing that. You need acid at a specific strength in your stomach in order for you to be able to break down and digest the things before they go into your small intestine. It is critical. So what we're doing is we're popping all of these pills to reduce our acid levels, and so our food sits in our stomach longer and ferments, right? And produces these bloat and gas and stuff like that, and we're not breaking it down, and we're not killing the bugs that need to be killed before they get into our small intestine. And then they begin to what? They begin to culture and build a thriving colony inside of your small intestine, and you get leaky gut, you get dysbiosis, and all these other issues that affect every system of your body, including your brain. And yet we think that we're dealing with the root cause. The root cause is that we have too much acid. No, it's not that you have too much acid. There's another problem, right? Your body needs to have that hydrochloric acid in his stomach.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I'm going to mention something else, and I forgot about that. They pointed out in the case I was talking about there about myself with H. pylori, the cayenne pepper being a hostile environment for it. They also pointed out that the cayenne pepper kills the bad bacteria. But on the other side of the coin, opposite of antibiotics that kill everything, it complements and works with the good bacteria that you need. And that's true across the board with most herbs. It really is. And I wanted to add that because I'd forgotten about that. But it just really, it really, really helped me heal my gut. And it's because they told me I'd had 2 or 3 before, but they had scarred over. But this one, it was a big one, and it didn't scar over. It popped the top, and it started leaking blood. And it's no fun when you have to be laying in a hospital and seeing a red line run across your chest, getting blood in your arm. It's because we used to, in the military, I don't know if you guys probably did too, but we used to give blood every other month. And I got to tell a funny story. One of my good friends, Lonnie, he hated needles with a passion. He dreaded needles, but he would suffer through it to donate blood because of the cause he was giving. And so the Red Cross nurses, they knew us. They knew we were all certifiably crazy. We're walking in, we're standing in line, and Lonnie gets on the gurney there, right across the little partition from us, and we can see him, he can see us, and I popped off and I said, the nurse came over. I said, you know what Lonnie said? He said it'd take a real nurse to hurt him. I shut up, And my other buddy Dennis says, that ain't what he said, Joe. What'd he say? He says a real nurse would take it out of his jugular vein rather than his arm. And without missing a beat, because she knew us, she swabbed the side of his neck. He sat straight up like that. He wasn't going to, and we all just died laughing, nurse and all of us just died laughing at him, and he grumbled about, said something, and he went ahead and got poked, and we used to give blood every other month, and it was a joyful time. But when I was receiving blood, that's a different breed of cat.
Yeah.
I thought I wonder who the person was that donated this blood for me in my hour of need. Yeah. And I prayed for them, and I gave thanks that person cared enough to give blood. And giving blood is something, if you're able to give blood, it's something that I encourage everyone to do, because it is a gift of life. It really is.
Absolutely, it's so very much needed. And if you have a blood donation facility in your area, certainly we recommend if you're able to go to donate blood. I've donated lots of blood. I know that I've been fortunate enough that I never had to be on the other end of receiving the blood, but
that's no fun.
But it's only because somebody makes a decision to go in and spend that 30 minutes in the chair that a lot of people survive every day, right?
Oh yeah.
So certainly we would encourage all of our audience to go and do that, because you never know whose life it is that you might save.
Oh yeah, and that's the main thing. It really is to have an attitude that you're going to give because of the fact that someone somewhere is going to need that life, that gift of life that you're able to give, and it's a wonderful, wonderful feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another thing people suffer with that they reach for an outside over-the-counter product is constipation. I've been very fortunate. I'd never have suffered much from constipation, but usually I relate constipation to not drinking enough water. That's what I normally think. What when you think about constipation, what comes to your mind, Jeremy?
Well, absolutely. Not having enough fluids in your body is certainly a portion of the issue, but a lot of people don't think about it too, is just having the proper amount of fiber in the body as well. And so it seems kind of counterintuitive, and really many years ago when I was having some colon issues, and my doctor told me you need more fiber. I'm like, well, I don't need more fiber, I'm pooping okay, right? But the fact is, you would think that if I eat more fiber, I'm gonna bulk up more, so I'm gonna get clogged up more, right? But that's just simply not the case. Fiber is so important along with the water, because it really helps to keep that waste material moving throughout the bowel, right?
Yes.
And it scrubs the inside of the colon as it goes through, removing things in there as well. But yes, water is super important, right? And make sure that you get the proper amount of fluids. And I'm gonna anger the coffee drinkers here. I'm a coffee drinker, so I'm just gonna. But I can put it out there. But I mean, caffeine doesn't help us, right? With being able to stay hydrated, right? Caffeine is something that helps us to stay hydrated. So so the fluids that you do drink, you can't just drink any fluid and say that I'm hydrated, right? You can't drink a 40 of beer and say I'm hydrated, right?
Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite
exactly.
there. Yeah. Same is true with soda pops.
Yes, very true. So having good high quality water is super important, right? And speaking of water, I mean, while we're just kind of talking about that, is most people are on some type of city water or some kind of municipal water, or maybe your neighborhood has a water system or something like that. And the most common ingredient that we all put into those water systems is chlorine, right? Chlorine. I want you to think about this. The audience, think about this, right? Chlorine, we use chlorine to do what? To kill microbes in our kitchen and stuff like that, which I would recommend you don't do that. There's natural alternatives to do that. But we all know that chlorine kills, right? We all know that if we flush chlorine down our toilets, then we actually can harm our septic system if you're on a septic system, right?
Yes, because it kills the good bacteria.
Like that. Yeah. But we don't think about the fact that we're drinking water out of the tap that has been treated with chlorine. What is that chlorine doing inside of your gut?
Oh, yeah.
It's killing your microbiome. It's killing the bacteria, right? Chlorine kills bacteria. It doesn't differentiate between, that's a good guy, so I'm not going to kill it. That's a bad guy, so I'm going to kill it. When you ingest chlorinated water, you are ingesting that same substance that kills the microbes in your septic system if you flush it down.
The same stuff they put in swimming pools.
Right. To kill germs, right? Well, what we do is we throw our gut microbiome out of whack because we kill off our good bacteria. And therefore, we end up with leaky gut. We end up with headaches. We end up with brain issues. We end up with autoimmune disorders. We end up with achy joints. We end up all kinds of things. Parkinson's. Everything is just connected because there's more nerve cells in your gut than there are in your brain.
Absolutely. And your gut and your brain and your heart, they have to work together in perfect harmony for you to enjoy good health. And I wanted to also mention about the dandelion tea for you folks out there. Do your research on dandelion tea. But one of the wonderful things that dandelion tea does, it's a great diuretic. And it helps you lose belly fat. I have dropped, when I got out of the hospital, I weighed 168 pounds. I now weigh 151 or 52 pounds. And that's without me doing anything different other than adding the dandelion tea to my daily routine. But my point being, not only does that, but it also enhances the bowel movement. Because all of us who have ever been in the hospital, one of the first things that a nursing staff will ask you, have you had a BM today? Because that's very, very important. Now, also, too, people that suffer from, constipation stuff, they might use a combination of magnesium plus citrate because it has a long proven history of relaxing the intestines, and it pulls in water to stimulate the bowels. And as soon as your stools are able to move, they recommend you to cut back on that if your stool's starting to get soft, because your stool should be relatively solid to be able to do the cleansing when it passes through the bowel. That's part of the process. But see, that particular remedy, it doesn't have any of the side effects that you would have with other over-the-counter things. Because over-the-counter products, they have a lot of things in there that they don't advertise because if people looked at what the ingredients in there, they go like, well, I don't think I want that,
Yeah. Well, and dandelion tea, I know that you've talked about that a lot of times because of your heart issues. But dandelion tea is another one of those natural remedies, those natural herbs that have been around for thousands of years, Jim. This is something that generations populations of people have known about, right? And it's not just for your heart. Yes, it helps with blood pressure and cholesterol, right?
Yeah.
But it also helps with anti-inflammatory. It's an anti-inflammatory. It helps relieve stress. It helps, as you mentioned, to kind of loosen up things as they go through, right? It helps in so many different ways. It is one of the most common natural remedies, and yet we haven't invested millions of dollars to research it.
You know, when I was doing my research on this, Jeremy, I don't know if I've shared this with you. I think I have before on TV, here in TV land, but one of the cardiologists who has extensively studied dandelion tea, he made two comments that really just kind of like got branded into my brain. One was that he says, in my practice, over the last 10 years, I've not prescribed one statin medication to any of my heart patients. I put them solely on dandelion tea. And over the last 10 years, he said, I have seen dandelion tea be like a repair kit for the heart. Obviously, I went like that because I've already been studying up on it and looking to, the various things that's been, studied on dandelion tea. Then he said, guess who gave dandelion a bad name as being a weed that you need to get out of your yard?
Who?
The pharmaceutical companies.
Go
they
figure.
were the people behind that because they wanted you to look at the dandelion plant as being a weed that you need to get rid of. If you got dandelion weeds in your front yard, you must be a hick or something.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up because, when we first talked about dandelion tea, I'm thinking, of course they haven't done any research because I can go right out to my yard and I can dig it up myself. Right?
Yeah.
I can go get it. I mean, that's one thing that as I've really began to transition to try to do things more natural is that, I'm finding things out in the wild and foraging, right? I'm finding things on my 4 acres that like, oh my gosh, like I get all these wild onions that grow in my lawn. And I don't know why they grow on my lawn. I don't know where they came from. But you know what I did the last few nights this week? I go out at dinner time, I snip some wild onions and I put them in my food. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's I didn't have to go pay for it. I didn't have to go buy it nowhere.
That's what the cardiologist also recommended. I have to buy the dandelion tea because where I live here, even though I got 8.5 acres, we don't have dandelion weeds. I don't know why. Yeah. We got everything else. Everything else that grows here is usually green, got a sticker on it, But they talked about getting the dandelion plant, the leaves from it, take it in your house and just prepare it like you would if you got salad right out of your garden or, lettuce or something. Just wash it and chop it up and, cook it or eat it or however you want to do it. However you develop a taste for it because it's beneficial. Yeah. And so if it grew naturally here, I'd be digging up those weeds, but I wouldn't be digging them up for. Of course, I'd blow the little ball of the little seeds. I'd blow them.
Yeah. That's the kid in you. But dandelion is such a great thing. It is such a common thing in holistic remedies. It's also good for your liver, for detoxing. It just totally is a beneficial thing, and you don't have to have heart issues to benefit from taking it.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about this, and I think we got enough time to get into this some. We've got about 12 minutes left, but I mentioned this earlier about capsicum or red pepper. That's really been, they've seen this for thousands of years when it comes to joint discomfort. People start, getting a little stiffer, their knees hurt or whatever. And the natural solutions that they have found that take care of your joint is capsicum and I can't even pronounce that. curcumin. Curcumin. Yep. There we go. Some of these words, they're kind of hard to roll off my thick Southern tongue, so that's why I have Jeremy here to take care of that for me. Yeah. But it's really amazing. It's a spice that comes from turmeric, and a lot of people are starting to learn more and more about turmeric and the benefits of it. And this is an area that, because I had to have knee surgery back in '86. It's arthroscopic. I had a torn cartilage, and I never will forget when I went in there for my first therapy session. There was this big, huge therapist, and she was a lot bigger than I was. And what really happened there in the first thing, she was going to flex my knee. And so I'm on my back. I got my left leg bent, and I got my foot at a knee at a 90-degree angle, bent. And she says, now I'm going to push down on your knee, just relax. So really what happened in my relaxing, I'm trying to keep my leg straight, and she's putting her weight into it. And ladies and gentlemen, I lost the battle. She beat me. Because I thought, man, when she bends that thing is going to pop like a chicken egg or a chicken leg or something, you know. But it didn't. But that's just the way our mind works. But when it comes to your joints, it is extremely important for you to know that your joints must be lubricated. They got to be treated nutritiously, because that's where we get all of our energy. Everything comes from our nutrition, from the alpha to the omega. And they talk about golden milk as being very good, but turmeric and capsicum, those two really they really hit the top of the chart when it comes to joint pain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead. I just want to throw that in there.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say capsicum is used for a variety of things. You know, not only internally but externally, you can take it as well. And it is actually in non-pharmaceutical treatments for neuropathy is one of the common things that they put in neuropathy type oils is capsicum. It's a capsicum spray as well. And that is used to help to alleviate some of the nerve damage. It doesn't, of course, cure it, but it helps to alleviate that as well. But you can also make for people that suffer from like arthritis or have old injuries or joint issues or whatnot like that. You can make a natural salve that's much better than say brand names like Bengay or Icy Hot or anything like that. But including a capsicum oil in that salve. Capsicum and comfrey oil that you make a oil and then you mix it in with some beeswax and some essential oils as well, including peppermint and wintergreen and some cinnamon. Cinnamon is another really strong anti-inflammatory as well.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you can actually make your own natural joint and muscle pain relieving salves that don't have any of the nasty chemicals or anything like that.
Oh, yeah. I remember as a boy growing up on the farm, when you had chest congestion, my aunt used to make a mustard plaster. I don't know what all was in this stuff. I didn't like it because she would put that on me, and then she would put not a bandage, but she'd wrap a little towel or something around me, and I didn't like it, because she wanted that to get absorbed into my chest.
Yep.
And you know what? It cleared that stuff up. But being a kid, I'm thinking, I don't like it. It's icky. It's sticky. You know, that sort of thing. That's just being a kid.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you right now, I would love to, you know, and I'm sure it's probably online. I hadn't even thought about looking it up. Mustard plaster, one of those mustard plasters and what they put in it and all. But man, what she did, it knocked it right out. I mean, next morning I felt great.
Yeah. You know, and again, it's natural, you know, and these things have been around for years. I mean, you were having it done to you when you were a kid. That was at least 150 years ago, right? So.
Oh yeah. That's back for we went to school on horse and buggy, either that or we walked or rode a horse, or, you know, and it's right, but we wore moccasins because they didn't have shoes in them days.
Yeah. You know, I never had a mustard plaster, but I did when I got a cold and stuff. I mean, the treatment was a little bit of hot tea, honey, and Jack Daniels, and I mean,
wow, I guess I missed out on that deal.
Yeah, that was like the folklore that my mom thought of, you know. But maybe she just wanted to shut me up, but I don't know. But yeah, so I mean, there's these different natural things, and
there really is.
Do your research.
Yeah. I was just going to say exactly what Jeremy said. Do your research, because what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. And I've told the story before, and time's short, I won't go into detail, but I found out when people were taking garlic, a lot of people got on the garlic kick. And I didn't want to take it because of the bad breath it created. Well, my wife found a pill that had some type of rose hips or something in it, didn't give you the weasel breath, and I took it, but it created a rash on my neck. But at the time, I thought it was something else. And I thought, well, gee whiz, it can't be that, because I've heard all these good things about it. But the point of it is what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. So do your research. And the bottom line is this, is that, the natural cures that you will look at and try will at least not put you in a poorhouse.
Yeah.
If you find something that works, you are good to, excuse me. Go ahead, sir.
You're good to go. And that's the thing. We want you to find what works for you. And that's what I love about natural and functional medicine, is that we don't just figure that one size fits all, right? We don't say, okay, everybody that has a cholesterol level between this and this, you give them this pill and they're going to be all better, right? That's not the way that we look at things in holistic medicine. We try to get to the root cause of what's causing it, because guess what, folks? You need cholesterol. Cholesterol is a vital part of building your body. If you don't have cholesterol, you die, right? It's a sterol. It's critical to the building of your body, right? So
that's why they call it good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. Yeah. The good you need. So instead of
throwing a pill at it, let's find a way to figure out what's actually happening and take care of that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone, and Jeremy and I, we want to thank you so much for tuning in today. Be sure and like our show and subscribe to it on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you might see it on. Of course, we're on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Amazon, and all the iOS and cell phones and stuff. But most importantly, share some of the information we've shared with someone that you know that could benefit from it, because that's why we're here.
Yep.
And on behalf of Jeremy, it's always a pleasure. I look forward to doing shows with you on Tuesdays on health and wellness, because I learn a lot. And I know that it's one of the nice things about doing a show with Jeremy is that he does so much research. And I figure since he's got the brains, I should use them, right?
That's right. I'll loan you half of mine.
There you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. On behalf of Jeremy and myself, we sincerely hope that you and your loved ones are healthy, happy, and blessed in all areas of your life. Remember to love yourself first, because you are worthy. And then you can love others. And most importantly, anything that's worrying you, love it enough to say, I'm going to cure your problem and I'm going to let you go. Because if you continue to worry about it, it owns you. You become its slave. Think about that. We'll see you next week. Thank you, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing. Bye-bye.